Next question. If you were president, what would you do
God
about
forbid.
the 15,000 immigrants coming to our border?
No, there you. I think it's more than that.
Just burn the Mexican flag.
You know, I just got back from Central America, when I went to visit the three Northern Triangle countries, which are Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala, where most of this recent influx of refugees coming from.
More high-tech students.
World. And I'll tell you, we have a refugee policy. We in this country have a refugee policy where if you fear for your life, you have an argument to be in this country.
Okay.
And I went there because I thought it was important that as a legislator, I go and see for myself what the facts are. I met with the Honduran president. We talked about the first recent wave, I guess, late last year, of 7,000 coming across Mexico.
I thought that was
And he
really
was
happening.
telling me that 90% of those individuals are back. The next wave of 5,000, about 60% of them came back, 40% of them, most of those stayed in Mexico because Mexico is giving a lot of those folks working permits to stay in Mexico.
They don't want them there.
I also found out that in southern Mexico, a lot of those refugees are actually being resettled. The issue becomes what motivates folks to take a very expensive and dangerous trip.
Nancy,
And what I have found was
Economic migrants.
fear for their lives.
Not true.
Politicians. What are the fears exactly?
Couple of issues,
For my life,
okay?
can I live in
Gang
the house?
violence, drug violence,
We have it here,
We have
sir.
that here.
So invite him here,
Corruption.
great.
We have that here.
If you think about what motivates a lot of this, it's drug money, folks.
We have that.
Drug money.
Here we go.
Pelosi, Schumer.
Where does the money come from? It's our neighbors, our children
That's why we need the wall.
who are consuming drugs that fuel this violence.
Not build the wall.
Just said
We have
wall.
three exports,
Exactly why we
okay?
need the wall.
Drug money, weapons,
Lying.
Exactly.
That's
Not
a
true.
lie.
we export.
That's
That's
why
a
The
lie.
solution is an interesting one,
Export illegals.
because what I try to do is figure out, how do you stop this? Okay?
Build the wall.
Mexico's essentially
Right here,
got
Betty.
to the point where their economic
the
stability,
wall.
there's zero net immigration from Mexico now. The three other countries in Central America, what you've got to do is create institutions of law.
Yep.
You got to get rid of the corruption.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
got to make sure when people
Right
go
here.
to that court and say, I want something, I want justice, that justice is there. Number two, we have to get rid of the gangs and the corruption, and that means getting rid of the drug money. Now, some of the things that I found that were very pleasant were these fusion centers. These folks were talking to me about fusion centers. The first place I ever heard the word fusion was from Sheriff Don Barnes. A fusion center is where you take different agencies, different levels of government, coordinated to work toward a certain goal. They have the FBI down there, they have the DEA, they have various federal agencies and state agencies working with the locals to address a lot of these violence issues. Ultimately, if we really want to make a dent in Central America, we need to create a Marshall Plan to stabilize those economies and make sure, okay, that people want to stay home to raise their children in a safe place.
Make
Now-
Central America great again. Yay!
Interesting
Good idea.
that the president of El Salvador was telling us that China is now moving into the Central American
Yes, they are.
region.
Yup.
They're proposing to build a deep water port in El Salvador.
Yep.
And they also want 75% of the Salvadorian coastline for their own strategic interests.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of interesting chess moves going around in Central America. But remember also, we haven't begun to see the refugees from Venezuela yet.
And we
Most
won't.
of those refugees are scattered through Central and Latin America.
Yeah, Colombia.
Some are coming in, but they're going into Houston and Florida because they're from the oil industry, they're oil technocrats, and Houston is a place where they can find employment and
Did
what
you
have
support Hugo
But
Chavez?
as you move forward and you begin to understand the challenges of refugees, I think you pull back and you say, the United States of America. The United States of America, okay? The Monroe Doctrine. Any of you know what the Monroe Doctrine is?
We remember.
What is it? Monroe.
You want me to get up and talk to everybody about it right now? Be happy.
30 seconds, boss.
Oh, you can't do it in 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
Better try.
What do you want to do?
Oh, for crying out
I
loud.
can do it in 30 seconds. The Monroe Doctrine is the word.
Well,
There's a lot more stuff.
It was that the United States would keep European interests from colonizing Latin America.
That was really the first step in the United States declaring that Latin America was essentially our jurisdiction. It was our jurisdiction.
It was off limits
But
to
what we
European
forgot to do
intervention.
was manage that jurisdiction correctly. And now, the Americas are our sphere of influence, national strategic interest. We have to make sure Central and Latin America are stable.
Yes.
And we have to move in that direction. Okay? We're very interested in Syria, the Middle East, but this is our backyard, folks. We have to make sure this area is stable. Strategic. It's not their best interest, it's American best interest. Next question.
Hey, make Central America great again. Yay.
They need to support Trump.
The question was, you're president. Okay, 15,000 people are approaching our border right now. What do? You
You didn't answer that.
Let them through.
You did not answer
I
that.
don't know which 15,000 you're talking about.
Are you kidding? Who cares? They shouldn't be overrunning the border.
We're going to sit down and address them and see what.
They're illegal.
Build the wall.
Okay,
They're lawbreakers.
Are you letting them in or are you stopping? That's what my question
Come on.
Letting them
Like I
in.
said, we're going to address them at the refugees.
No.
Okay, moving to the next question.
Let's help the vets
It says to
first.
protect the integrity of casting a vote for federal elections, why is voter identification not required at a voting location?
Thank you. Voter ID.
Remember, you told us all Yes. about
That's not voter
TSA.
suppression.
Because then I'll never stay in office.
Voter ID is an issue that's been debated. Some states have it, some don't.
Many states
But I
have it.
think in general, the state of California will believe that voter ID is a form of suppression.
No, it's
No,
not.
that's a lie.
Boom.
That's a lie.
If I look
Jesus,
at
that's
the
bullshit.
You have to
issues
show
of voter fraud
ID at
in
TSA?
Orange County, the issues of voter fraud have been having to do with voter registration. And not
Ballot harvesting.
documented being registered to vote, but by
People have
campaigns,
been dead for 20 years.
hiring people to register voters on a per head basis. There are companies out there that will charge you in a lot of campaigns that'll pay $15 a registration card.
Okay.
And so you'll see high school kids
Showing ID.
going out and registering 10 people a day. 10 times 15, it's 150 bucks. The problem is a lot of those are fraudulent. And former DA Tony Rackauckus, we brought some cases before him, and he successfully prosecuted voter fraud in the areas of voter registration. That's where really voter fraud is really at. And that's the area we want to focus on.
No.
Congressman, that was my question, and what I was trying to draw was issue. You show up at a voting booth, nobody asks for your identification,
Exactly.
nobody
Right.
confirms your identification
Divisional people.
against the registration. You've got people voting not just in multiple events.
Yep.
You've got people voting who are not citizens of the country.
Exactly.
Who have registered because they have a driver's license issued by the state. That is.
And how about ballot harvesting?
That's why he doesn't want
We are a
it.
citizen.
I hear what you're saying.
Ballot harvesting, too.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I think somebody brought up
That's
the
why he called
issue.
it suppression.
The issue that I've seen is not people registering to vote who shouldn't vote. The issue is
How do you know?
American citizens who don't want to register to vote.
No.
And that
Come
was the issue
on.
you were addressing when you said
That's
how
a
do you
lie.
get
It's a
Latinos
lie.
to vote? Because, you know, a lot of folks just don't want to vote. And that's the challenge that we have.
Exactly.
That's
Worst
a lie.
non-answer
ever.
Not answering the question.
I did.
No, you didn't.
He did not. He did not.
Okay,
There
we're
is
going to
no
move on to
voter
the next question
suppression.
in
There
the
is no
interest
voter
of time.
suppression.
The next